Welcome to Insights Fusion. Today, we have truly exceptional guest, Evgeniy, a cybersecurity architect, advisor, speaker, and entrepreneur with over 2 decades of experience in the industry. From starting as a firewall deployment engineer to leading cybersecurity architecture at Hygiene Group, I hope I pronounced. Evgeniy has seen the evolution of cybersecurity from the front lines. He is the founder of EK Cyber and Media Consulting, co-host of multiple cybersecurity podcasts, and an advocate for smarter, more effective communication through his Stupidity Prevention Initiative.
This is a something I don't know why you have it. It's funny. This is a side project I started. I don't even know why you have this there, but we can talk about this part as well.
Okay. Oh, I captured everything. What's online
you captured
about
too much.
You.
The reason I have this is because on my LinkedIn, people were reaching out too much. So I decided to put a company that I started called Stupidity Prevention and see if people can still want to use AI to help me with the stuff. Guess what? The moment you put something like that in your profile, people stop reaching out to you. So I saved a lot of garbage and I saved a lot of spam.
Perfect. I do the same when hiring. So I created my own framework. It's called Rumblin, random name. I bought a domain, registered NPM package, all other libraries. And I ask people how much experience do you have with it on the job description. And it's like about 10% has about 4 years of experience with that thing.
Good idea. I was never thinking about it. But yes, it's the same as we have people say they have 15 years experience with AI and join your AI.
Yeah, exactly. This happens. So, what is it you do? I know things about cybersecurity, entrepreneurship, leadership. What's the main thing people know you about?
The main thing is going to be consulting in cybersecurity. I have my own company for the last 2.5 years. I've been in the space for 25 years, and I'm consulting to companies. I'm consulting to service companies as well. And I'm also consulting to vendors that create cybersecurity products. Besides this, I'm a big advocate of communication and soft skills. I'm a second-time immigrant, so I wrote a book about soft skills and communication. That it's kind of a side gig for me, more than fun to help people to communicate better and act better, because I strongly believe that the salespeople need to know how to do it. But not just this. If you're a CTO, if you're an engineer, you really need to learn how to communicate. And funny enough, because your show is in a way focusing on CTOs, I find that unfortunately many smart technical professionals, boys and girls, men and women, not always able to communicate their ideas in the language that somebody else understands. So this could be simplification, metaphors, or many other things.
Interesting. I know that engineers has usually this problem, especially more bit introverted people. But, it's like when you are really good in technical things, you want to explain everything in detail, and nobody understands what you're even talking about, even your boss probably.
But have this job that if you put an accounting person and developer person in the same room and tell them to only use the acronyms they use with their friends, they're going to lose each other after 5 minutes because they have no idea what you're talking about.
Might be like maybe somebody from legal also could be thrown in.
It's even going to be worse.
To make it worse.
In a way, it is important because you need to know your audience. You want to understand, are you talking to the same people that understand your jargon? Are you talking to people that understand at all? Maybe you're talking to your parents, you're talking to your friend, what you do at work, or you talk to business people. Business people, they don't care which language you use to develop a code or what is the bits and bytes. They care about the outcomes, they care about productivity, they care about scaling, of course, profitability as well.
As long as it works and job gets done, that's all they need. Right?
I guess we want to put efficiency because it's not like, okay, we made it work, but okay, what if we add another 5 customers? Do we need to hire more people? Or because we also want to be efficient, not just work.
Interesting. So another thing, so what I captured, you mentioned CTOs also as potentially having similar problem. How come? Like, if you're CTO,
I'll explain
should have learned it more or less.
because CEO in many cases is the first phase of the company. In many cases, they're the ones that doing the announcement. CTOs usually stay on the back end, but in many cases, we want them to present when it's come to technical details. We want them to present at different conferences. We want them to bring to an important customer to explain the backend, to explain this bytes and nights how it's actually working, how the AI is deployed, or how the SaaS or this new algorithm or whatever it is we're working on. So if this particular person, as you mentioned, is potentially an introvert, they are going to have hard time to do that. They may also be scared. And actually, I have a chapter in the book that talk about fear, because fear, in a way, it's an enabler, but it's also not an enabler, because I don't think fear is bad. I think fear is very good because it's stopping us from doing stupid things. Like going on a bike and jumping somewhere, don't know where it is, going on speed to the place we don't know and go full speed, or car, many other different examples. But it also help us to not go and pet a lion, for example. But it also help us sometimes to say, okay, I'm afraid right now. It's something new. The question here, if you're afraid to present, if you dread about this, why? And can you change this mental mode to understand, am I afraid, or because it's something new, I'm excited? I like to give an example for the audience that have kids. If you put a kid on a slide, they're going to be afraid. They're going to be afraid first time, until they're going to overcome the fear and go down. The moment they go down one time, then again, they're going to be there the entire day if they can, because they just change the fear to excitement. With fear, they didn't know the outcome. With excitement, they know the outcome. Now it's cool. Could be the same in many cases with CTOs, not just CTOs, technical people, when they need to present their ideas, and they may be afraid nobody will understand them. They may be afraid they're not speaking very well. I'm a second-time immigrant. I speak Russian, Hebrew, and English. Guess what? I have an accent. It took me a while to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations. It took me a while to be comfortable that somebody may ask me, Evgeniy, I didn't understand what you're saying. And okay, I'll explain again. I'll slow down. I change how I explain this part. So this is why CTOs, in many cases, are the important people that need help. How many times you jump on a call with someone and they're like, oh, we, created this AI thingy and algorithm, like what, where, what are you talking about? I already lost you in the middle. No, it's not just the bad people. They just didn't learn the cars. They didn't learn how to do it. They didn't learn what to do, how to slow down. But same idea as we can teach people to talk to other people, we can use the same ideas with technical people. Pretend you have a CPU in your brain and you can do X amount of things at the same time. You have multi-threading. If you part of your multi-threading is focused on fear, then you're now removing the other threads to focus on something else. What it could be how I speak. It could be, do I have filler words? It could be paying attention to other people, paying attention to what I'm talking, thinking about what I need to solve. So if you replace the threads of fear with something else, now we're opening up the CPUs to watch our filler words, to change filler words to pauses, to become more calm, to breathe, to smile. There are so many things we can do.
Interesting. I think the hardest part in this is accept who you are, probably how you sound.
But this is interesting because you've been recording. How long have you been recording?
I'm doing this podcast. I think it's like 10th episode, but I've been working remote. It wasn't like a trendy. It was like before COVID. So I've been in front of webcam for a really, really long time already.
You learn your voice. What I know, I've been recording for more than 5 years right now, probably more than 300 different episodes and panels as well. I don't know almost anyone that likes their voice when they listen to themselves. I don't think I know anyone. Everybody I spoke and asked this question, like, we hate our voice. I don't even know who is this person. It took me 8 months to be comfortable to edit my own voice. Now, perfectly fine. But it was a long time. And when you listen to yourself and now you pay attention how you talk, are you monotone? Do you have filler words? It could be discouraged as well. I don't like how I sound. Pause for a long time. I stumble. I'm or like whatever it is, the sounds you make is all different. Now, this could be a motivation to see, I don't like how this. I'm gonna change this. Or I don't like how this. I'm not gonna do anything. I'm gonna hide in my corner. In my
Yeah, you have to kind of force a bit yourself to get in front and start talking. For me personally, what gave a little bit of kick or like motivation that it's actually really doable. I tried Toastmasters.
agree with you 100%. This has helped me a lot because Video Awards, amazing school. I think for the money, is the best school you can ever get.
Well, also, so I'm still curious. So, are we talking about CTOs of 200 developer department, or are we talking about more growing CTOs of who has less? Because I'm thinking if it's a large company, I think you probably wouldn't end up in C-level position if you
This
had
company
this problem.
started from somewhere. If you're a CTO
Right.
and you're a founder, 5, 2, 3, 8 years ago, it was a small company. But let's change the lens a bit. Let's think it's a company of 200 people. And you have a team lead, you have a group manager, or even engineers
Yes.
that finish a project. What's usually happening? You finish something important. We ask the engineer, the lady, the man, can you come and present us the project? Tell me about your work. So even a 200, 500,000 people company, if you go down the pyramid, people need to present and talk about their work. And it goes up. Now it's going to team lead, to manager, to director, to VP. And each of this person need to go and present the project to a higher level. And the language and the details of the project will change. So in a way, everyone need to present their ideas. Everyone need to connect on a certain level.
Yes.
So in my mind, it doesn't matter. But I think the company that is 200 people, the CTO probably learned how to work and can do a job, or she decided, you know what, this is not mine, we're not going to do this. I have founders that's saying, Evgeniy, I don't want to present. It's not something I like. I know I need to, but if I can stay away, I'll let my marketing person, I'll let my CRO to present as well. So we're all different. Now, why is it so dear to my heart? Because I'm in cybersecurity. And guess what? Nothing we do is simple. It's all complicated bullshit, excuse my French, that we need to explain the vulnerability, the CVEs, how it's aligned to your risk profile, what's going to happen in the cloud. People like API security, people don't really understand what we do. So I spent a lot of my life to basically do solution architecture. When I take multiple solutions and I'll come to an enterprise, to a bank, and explain to them how we're going to take the jigsaw puzzle of 3D with different things, and we're going to create a good architecture on a technology level, why it's matter on the business level, why we need to spend a couple of millions, and how it's going to align to compliance the company has. All this, you want to be able to jump high on the business level and jump into the TCP IP and protocol level to explain to people. But for me, it was so interesting to learn. And I think mainly because I needed to overcome the English barrier, the language barrier. And you know what I learned for myself? When people see the excitement, when people see how passionate I am about the subject, it's almost like catching fire. Like, oh my God, there's no way you so care about this particular architecture. So this is all led to working on a book and exploring the idea of soft skills and communication and language and video and hooks in a deeper level, because you can probably go and ask ChatGPT how to behave, but I don't think it's so good there. I think it's much better in programming. I'm going to give you a simple example.
Yes,
If
yes.
I ask you, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? On the fifth time, you tell me, Evgeny, what's wrong with you, and punch me in the face. Because I already asked you 5 times. If you're going to ask ChatGPT, guess what happened? I'm doing really well. How are you? I'm doing really well. How are you? I'm doing amazing. How can I help you? There is no emotion. There is no dynamics there. If I'm
Yeah.
talking to you on the phone and you're walking on the street and you just step into the puddle, your mood will change. You're not going to be so happy as you were before. And this applies to communication and everything in between teams, in between the companies and sales, with sales managers, with customer success, pretty much everywhere. We can learn how to capture these nuances and understand people better.
Interesting. So, yes, it sounds really a challenge, especially if it is something really hard to explain, even to probably peers. Like, I would need explanations about cybersecurity because I never really worked about it. So we hired people,
Okay,
but it's like, what is it? What I'm supposed to do
so
with it?
let's do an example, okay? I need to explain to you about cybersecurity. I can do a couple of different things. And this is not just cybersecurity. I can say, oh, hello, let me explain to you about risk compliance, productivity, prevent, pretend. I can say, oh, let me do a metaphor. And I'll go into metaphor and say, think about the house. The house is your office. You're going for vacation. You're going for vacation. You want to make sure you close all the windows. Oh, then you need to know how many windows you have, how many doors you have. You want to enable your alarm. You want to make sure your cameras are working. So the same with your office. We want to understand how bad guys can get in. We want to understand how many different laptops you have in the environment and how we're going to secure them. We want to understand the monitoring system. And if something happened, who will basically be called for the monitoring system. So I can go farther, we can talk about the fence, about the dogs, and many different things. But I'm giving you an analogy about cybersecurity. So this is one part, and I think it's pretty much straightforward if you have a house or condo. But I can also ask you, is there a better way to explain to you? Do you like metaphors? Do you want to show you a diagram? Do you want to talk about this? And you say, oh, yeah, I'm actually very visual. Can you show me a diagram? Or no, talk to me about it. Or show me your product, or show me whatever it is. So this is coming back to guidance, something that we're not always using, and I think it is an important part of soft skills. Teach, not teach. Ask people, can I guide you? And also ask people, can you guide me if there's a better way to do X, Y, Z? That can be applied anywhere.
Interesting. But wouldn't asking the listener to guide you make your life more complicated because you might be good with one way of presenting, and then you asked, you get what you ask, and you might get, oh, do like infographics, some visualizations.
It
Oh
will
man,
make it, you're right. It may make your life more challenging, but I guess why you there? Why you presenting? So if you're in sales, or let's say you're an engineer that wants another screen, okay? Or you want a different desk, or want something, okay? You want something from your management. You need to sell it. You need to pitch it. So
Mhm.
is it your best interest to pitch it in a way that your manager will understand? Or vice versa, you're a team lead and you're pitching something to your people. Guys, from now on, we have to come to the office. We need to stay longer for 2 hours. You're selling them something and you need something to happen. So in my mind, you want to adapt to what needs to be happened because you want to make a deal or sale in this case. We've all been talking that PowerPoint by themselves are pretty much dead. We don't like long PowerPoints. We want something more dynamic. People that are adaptive maybe have a PowerPoint, but they're going to have 3 or 4 different PowerPoints depending on what you need, depends who you're talking to. Or they may keep some slides and go to the slides are more interesting for you. So you're right. It may be going to make my life harder, but it's part of my job to sell you, to talk to you, to convince you that it's, I think, something I have to embrace.
Right. All right. I can imagine one super complicated area, for example, in cybersecurity. I think like if I would go to legal and say, okay, we need to be compliant, and they will give me a bunch of terms, what we need to do, roughly, so we couldn't be like sued or fined that easily. Then, okay, so we have this list. Then you go to a technical person. You maybe hire a contractor who can help you. And then, okay, we have this list. What can we do? And in my experience, it was usually you get like million things and details, and you sit for an hour. It's like I have no, and like the question is barely answered whether it actually checks all those checkboxes on the list what that I've got from legal. It's kind of same thing, but I've noticed that it's really like, let's say, complicated topic to get like clearly communicated.
There's a lot of small nuances, as we like to say, the devil in the details. And in some cases, people kind of sleep under the desk more things you want to do. So you want to understand, do I actually need this? And I like, not just me, some of my friends as well that I'm working with, we separate between high, medium, low priorities, but we also add if it's a short, long task as well. So this could be just happen, but okay. This could be high priority, but very long task. Maybe taking 3 years and not able to do. Or this could be high priority, but short task. This way can help me to prioritize and build a better roadmap on stuff to do. It doesn't only have to be in cybersecurity. I think if you're doing a software architecture, you can do the same as well.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Do you have any like success story of somebody, successfully overcoming it?
You're talking about what exactly? Communication,
Well,
fear,
communication
cybersecurity.
part, yes,
Yeah,
something,
definitely. I was mentoring
hard.
actually a CTO, also a CEO, like one, basically he's a technical person to start the company. And he's a very good presenter, but I always felt that he is rushing all the time. And by he rushing all the time, he has a lot of filler words, but he was confident. So we worked with him and I was trying to analyze how can I help, and basically almost like 80-20 rule. What we can do is will help him to present better, but not make too many changes. And he was going to a big conference when he needed to present it. He was in a way scared. So we did two things. One, I told him back to the CPU idea, put a watchdog that will force you to slow down by 20%. Just this. Don't rush, just slow down. And next part, basically you slowing down, will help you to remove the filler words because you'll have more time to think what you can say after that. We did the pitch 3 times, 4-minute speech after that. On the 4th time, she was able to reduce the amount of filler words probably by 90%. So for the 4 minutes, you maybe say like, like 4 times. Before it was like 25, 80, whatever, I don't remember the time. So this was one part. And he now incorporated this when he presented. He remembered he needs to slow down. But there is another part here, because sometimes you're so excited or you're so scared that you forget about the techniques you need to do. So we added another technique, in my mind, one of the universal and completely free technique related to breathing. Because when we stress, our heart rate usually going higher. We kind of more not in a zone. We are afraid. So if you be able to slow down your breathing, you automatically will slow down your heart rate as well. And it will help you to relax more and get to a real zone to present. Human beings usually breathe from 12 to 20 breaths per minute. If you do something like box breathing or 1 to 2 yoga breathing, I'll explain in a second what it means, you're able to slow down dramatically. I'll explain. So this box breathing came from Navy SEALs, came from yogis as well. You inhale for X amount of seconds, let's say 5, for 5, exhale for 5, hold for 5. So now your sequence is 20 seconds. Guess what just happened? You just lower your breathing rate from 15 a minute to 3. If you do box breathing 3-4 minutes before you need to present or do something, you will lower your heart rate maybe by 20, maybe by 15, depend, and not just one time. Don't get me wrong. Not just one box breathing and you're done. You want to do it for 3-4 minutes. This will help you to kind of almost mechanically decrease your fear, decrease your anxiety, and it will help you to open up the idea of back to threads, back to CPUs, to watch all the things we discussed before. So these are the 2 things we did with him. Definitely helped him. Box breathing actually helped me as well. I'm trying to do box breathing every day. And what I learned for myself is when I'm going to present, sometimes something happened and I can mentally remember box breathing and just exhale very slowly and just remember how I felt. I had 2 interesting things happened for the last 3 months. One, I was presenting and I was moderating a panel. And I needed to basically tell about the panel and tell who will be on the panel. It was very dry and I'm not sure what happened. The moment I say, hi, welcome to our panel, blood started to come out of my nose. It was like about 200 people. So I just closed my nose, trying to say something. I'm kind of laughing and crying in the same time. So I closed my video, say, sorry, guys. Asked the panelists to introduce themselves, clean my nose, came back, normalized myself, and did the panel. Second, I was doing a presentation about soft skills for engineers, and something happened with my screens. I have like 4 screens. It didn't output the presentation to the correct screen. I have one screen vertical, so people on the other side couldn't see. And I know we have like 95 people on the other side. I've been playing with the screens for like 3-4 minutes. I'm getting stressed. It's not working. So I ended up removing the other screen, just physically disconnecting. I sorted out after 5 minutes and I started to present, but I'm all like red. I'm all stressed. So in my mind, I basically inhale, exhale, remember the feeling, smiled. And in about 5 minutes, I was able to get back and present as normal. And people then told me like, you didn't stress at all, dude. Like, wow, it was so interesting. But in my mind, I was like, going nuts.
Right. Interesting. Also, smiling helps.
It helps. Yeah. If you forget how to smile, you know what I also noticed? When you get stressed, you do that, to like tense your shoulders and you all like squeezing yourself. And if you just do that, if you like open your shoulders and breathe out, it's kind of better. And you're right, smiling helping as well.
I think a lot of people, including me, have this perception when looking to like speakers and panelists, keynote speakers, and like YouTubers, whatever, that they have no fear. It's everything ideal, everything so fine. They not afraid of anything. Even if they mess up, it's like, oh, fluent, no sweat. And then you think about yourself. It's like, man, I'm so afraid to talk, to make a mistake, to look stupid, something, all those things. And like, how am I, simple person, able to do anything like they do?
You're absolutely right. I think this is why we're connecting to people that sometimes make mistakes much better to these perfect people. It takes time. I remember myself about like 7 or 10 years ago, looking at the people that making mistakes when they're presenting, laughing about this, like, oh, I just missed a slide. And like moving on. And in one point, I just realized, okay, I'm going to screw up. I'm going to mess up eventually. Everybody do this, like the pine with the blood out of my nose. Again, I was laughing and crying because it's like, okay, I found my screwed up. Okay, let's see what's the next going to be. But you're right. It takes time to adapt. It takes time to learn. In one point, we have this expression of mileage. You need to do stuff multiple times to get more comfortable. Having said this, you're still going to feel uncomfortable. So you're learning to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations. And if you have 50 people, 100 people, 200 people in the crowd, they're going to be okay. But put me upon 1,000, I'll be stressed because it's new for me. I never did 1,000 people. In a way, when you're doing virtual, it's easy because right now you and me recording, This could be nobody listening to us, or it could be 5,000 people listening to us. So in a way, you just get used to it, but you're also learning how to adapt. You're also learning how to normalize yourself.
I think it's sometimes, I think I even read like a research that people feel more anxiety when they present on webcam remotely because they know that the audience is big. Let's say company, all hands, 50 people, couple hundred, maybe a whole company, a lot, like 1,000, let's say. But they also see themselves in the preview. And, seeing yourself kicks in a little bit more of that anxiety. I think that
First of all,
that was a research.
public speaking is the second fear after death in general. So people are afraid of this. I think when we moved to COVID, unfortunately, there was a new reality for many of us to understand. And I know for me, it was very strange to present to a camera when I don't see anyone and I'm talking to myself in a way. So I was kind of joking, I can talk to a wall right now. I don't care. It took time, again, because you listen to yourself as well and you see how your face move and the lighting and the virtual background or whatever it is. But you get time to use to it. So if it's something you want to do, if you have a bit of passion and you understand what you need to work on this, because people think that their voice is this how it is. You can go to voice therapists, you can go to speech therapists, you can go to vocal therapists, and you can analyze and understand your voice and make your voice better. When I started this journey, I went to someone to learn, and I learned that I have very low voice or very high pitch, but I have nothing in the middle. So we were learning how to extend, and now at least I think I can use my voice much better. I learned how to have a watchdog in my head to slow down. So when I record and when I talk to people, I'm slowing down. And sometimes my friends kind of joke about it. Hey, don't put your podcast voice with us,
So I read that you have not one podcast, but multiple.
Yes, I have actually several ones. So the first one started called Security Architecture, and it's all about design and how cybersecurity vendors integrate to companies with my friend Dimitri. Second one called Cyber Inspiration, and it's less technology, more business one that talk about the founders and their motivation to start the company, more in cyber. And after I released the book, I interview people from the book, or like for the book. So I started in a way explore the idea about soft skills and communication. So now still not too many episodes, but I'm talking to people that are passionate about communication from different fields. A very interesting interview that's not published yet will be published in a couple of weeks with a good friend of mine that he's autistic, and how they communicate, what's happening to them, why it's harder. I learned a lot by myself. It was very interesting.
Interesting. All right. So you mentioned starting companies and cybersecurity. Let's talk about that. So how startups in cybersecurity are doing overall? Sounds hard.
It's hard. There's also many. There's consulting companies and there's vendor companies. We're probably talking about more than 4,000 different vendors right now, and consulting even more. There's always new ideas. There's always a couple of years, something new happening. Right now, it's everything about AI security. Last year was about AI. Now, not just AI, but AI security, how we're actually going to secure LLMs. It is hard because in one way, as I mentioned, we have regulations, but there's also need. And in some cases, the cybersecurity leaders of the companies not really still know what they need first. So definitely hard. And we definitely, in many cases, have a lot of noise. How do I differentiate between company A to company B to company C? Also, if you look on this 10, 15 years ago, there was not a lot of information. Right now, I can plug your name, my name to ChatGPT and to companies, and we're going to learn from ChatGPT, Perplexity, Grok, Gemini, you name it, a lot about a particular company. So definitely the way we sell, the way we communicate changes as well.
True. So, right, last year it was everything about AI, that everybody needs AI. We need to learn it. We need to connect on APIs, learn those APIs, all the things. That's like, next big thing. Then we started talking about cybersecurity, and now everybody knows it is not secure. It's scary. Everything can go wrong, especially if you in a more regulated like industry, like healthcare, for example. But okay, so we know it's scary. No, we know it's bad, but what to do? What to do
So
now?
first of all, not lose yourselves, not go nuts. Okay. Second is you want to kind of just think, you just press buttons and think that, oh, you won the lottery, or you won a prize, or you got this, or your account got hacked, XYZ. So enable kind of thinking and stopping and not just pressing buttons. Two is understand to do basic hygiene, basic things in your company. So when you work in a company, I think it's totally fine to ask what kind of security training we can do. Not the security awareness training, but it's important. If you're talking about software engineers, there's courses designed specifically how to create secure code, how to create secure software. If you're talking about LLMs and ChatGPT, do I really want to put my code from my company in ChatGPT? Or maybe it's a bad idea. What kind of information I want to share? What kind of information I sharing on my application I'm downloading? Can everybody, like for example, many games right now or many chats can enable location sharing. Do you want this to happen? See, the most important part, what do we teach our kids and parents? Because our parents, in many cases, a bit more vulnerable. They don't really understand all the nuances. And our kids definitely. And then not to scare people too much, but deep fake. You and me are on the internet. So it's very easy to grab our voice and create something with our voice. I tell people you should probably have some kind of a secret handshake with your family. When somebody call you and tell me it's me and ask for money or help, ask something that only you and me know. This could be a vacation where we went. This could be place that only you and me know, certain food, something that's not publicly shared. So awareness is number one in my mind. There are also some precautions. I've been telling people all the time, don't use the same emails everywhere. Don't use definitely the same passwords everywhere. Don't use one credit card. Use two credit cards. One for online shopping with limited credit, and one when you're doing bigger purchases. Figure out where you save your passwords. It's going to be in the browser, or it's going to be in a tool that designated to save passwords. Don't use sticky notes, please. So there's a lot of hygiene you can do to enable your personal security better and your company security better as well. Unfortunately, there are so many stories about influencers that become viral on internet, but never had good passwords and two-factor authentications. Their account got stolen. Some of the funds they used got stolen as well. There's many, many mechanisms there. So do whatever you want to do. Just kind of stop sometimes and think and ask for help as well if you don't know should.
Yeah, and it's really easy to steal those database leaks if you went on like some crappy website and you were signed up and somebody stole the database, and maybe those passwords got decrypted. For example, MD5, I think that got decryptable now. And if you use the same email, there's a high chance you use the same password somewhere. And it's like they can check the Facebook, Gmail, whatever, for freelancer.com, for example, any places, all around. Interesting.
And I think for developers, there's a lot of tools also to check your code, to check APIs. Definitely not to invent passwords and API keys inside the code. Understand where you store them. There's a lot of hygiene for developers on how to build a secure code, how to build a more secure cloud environment, because majority of the software right now are in the cloud as well. And we have this term about basically your crown jewels. What will happen if I have access to them?
Crown jewels?
Crown jewels is going to be every company will care about something else. So let's think about this. If you're a company that give mobile services, so if your broadband is down, then you're basically losing money because your internet, your service is down. So your crown jewels are going to be enabling people able to connect and use the services. It's also probably going to be the names and database of the people that are buying from you. If you're a marketing company, it's going to be completely different. If you lose internet, who cares? You can do hotspot, connect on your phone. But probably the information you have about your customers is going to be your crown jewels. So if your marketing company is helping BMW create the new supercar, this is your crown jewels. Way different from a SaaS company that's creating a new algorithm for doing mobile trading. Everybody going to be a bit different.
Correct. So, talking about that developers need to learn about cybersecurity and secure code, it makes sense, it's good, and they should definitely do that. But also, it means slower delivery and higher costs. And I'm wondering how the board or like execs are reacting to this news, especially when talking about, let's say, AI implementation. Initially, everybody rushed to have an AI, and then now we're saying, all right, so it has to be secure. We cannot really just connect to OpenAI and just ask it all sorts of things about, let's say, our clients, patients, all sorts of things that are kind of secret.
I'll give you an analogy. Probably 6, 8, 10 years ago, we had this webcams, DVRs from China that people buy for 20, 40, 50 bucks. Very cheap, ever happy. Until somebody figured out all these devices have the same password, and you can log in and steal them. And now we created a huge botnets that did like DDoS attacks everywhere. You may call really about mirror. So then people realize, okay, cheap is good, but then I have an issue for reliability. So eventually people realize you need to put more money to have more secure products and have secure by design if you want your product to stay longer, be reliable, and care about your brand. What I'm getting with this is we got to the point that people understand that if you're not going to put security by design, one, companies may not buy your product because companies right now, have a third-party assessment that ask you questions about your product security if you're working with enterprises. If you plan to send to consumers, no, but B2B, business to business, eventually somebody asks for compliance, as you mentioned, somebody will ask for your security to understand what's happened. Unfortunately, there are too many attacks happening on the enterprises that came from third party because third party had access to the data. So this is one explanation to the board of directors why we need it. Two is your brand and your information. Do you want users to sue you if your database got stolen and all the information got leaked, for example? So this is at least, two examples. How do you explain why it's important? Of course, when you're a 5-people company and you still didn't even raise Series A and you're still building your product, you're probably not going to spend a lot of your budget on security, but you can still have a basic hygiene. You can at least think about how to do secure development. Look at DeepSeek. Everybody got so excited about DeepSeek, and in about a week, they pretty much found so many different cybersecurity holes. They found so many issues with this that in a matter of weeks, all the enterprises that I know banned DeepSeek inside the company. Not just because of where's the data going, because of the security as well.
Interesting. Well, for example, the simplest probably a thing to do for startup would be, AWS has this score for security. If you configured IAMs properly, if you're using bastions for DV connection, from local, all sorts of things like that, it's not too crazy to get done. And then if the startup works out, I have more experience with, healthcare. So I'm mostly thinking about the highest risks, and let's say HIPAA fines, I think per breach is about 25,000. So it multiplies. The worst case scenario, if you have 1 million of patients, you might have 1 million breaches, and it's times $25,000, which is
It'll be
a
very
large
expensive.
number.
It'll be very expensive, yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, so it's probably sometimes a good idea to think about it a little bit in advance and see what the aftermath could be if something goes wrong. All right, so we learned interesting things, discussed about ability to communicate, storytelling, and all those soft skills, and cybersecurity in companies. Thank you very much. It was really interesting. I will share links in the description to your LinkedIn, to the website, so people could find you. Is there anything else you would like to mention before finishing?
Yeah, definitely. If you can follow me on LinkedIn, find me on LinkedIn, Evgeniy, Evgeniy Kharam. If you're interested in soft skills and communication, go grab my book. You can find it on Amazon, everywhere you're located. You can also go to softskillspack.ca.com to learn more about the book and communication. I also have a training that help people to use soft skills when they're looking for a job.
Awesome. Thank you. And you listeners, don't forget to subscribe and follow so you wouldn't miss the next episode. And take care and see you next time.
Thank you very much.